What happens when your elf on the shelf gets caught in action? Today, we've got some hilarious and mysterious elf sightings to share with you. Like this video, subscribe, and let's get started. Up next, we have a crazy clip of an elf named Pogo hosting a pool party in the sink. At first, the elves fill the sink with water and then bring some inflatable toys, so every elf in the house would know that it's a party. After Pogo tests out its inflatable flamingo, it invites its elf friends to join in the sink. As you can see, Elves definitely not a party.
Looking good. Let's put in our flamingo. So heavy. Uh-oh. Now we need the rubber ducks. Let me touch my friends to see if they can come over. We're here. Hi there, everybody. Uh-oh.
We now have a clip of an elf who was spotted ziplining off the top of the Christmas tree. Not every elf is brave to attempt this kind of crazy trick, but this elf is also friendly because as he's done with this kind of stunt, he slowly approaches the camera and smiles right at it. And we're super fortunate that this family decided to set up a hidden camera because otherwise we would have never seen anything like this.
This is how the elf is.
In this clip, we have a security camera footage of 3 elves sitting on a piano. The clip gets exciting when one of the elves starts moving. It briefly leaves the frame before returning using its magic to float around. Then the second elf comes to life, jumps up, and even flies for a second. And finally, the third elf starts moving and joins its 2 friends on an adventure. This clip shows an elf on the shelf that was caught sitting calmly on top of the bed before starting to raise its hand. Maybe it has a question to ask, who knows? Now we have a clip from Spirella, who is one of the most well-known elf on the shelf catchers in the world. She has caught many elves moving around her home and causing problems like stealing cookies at night and even messing with her cat. In this clip, she's caught an elf on the shelf trying to break into a bird cage, and it just is insane, so keep on watching to see how it ends.
And I looked everywhere for my elves, and I could not believe what I found. Yep.
2 elves on the shelf displayed impressive magic when they both decided to use magic to create a Christmas tree in their owner's house, and then the elves joined hands together like lovers facing the Christmas tree. That's probably the most romantic elf on the shelf clip ever, so enjoy it to the fullest. This next clip was recorded by a girl who woke up in the middle of the night and only sees her elf moving around in bed, so she started recording it with her phone, and she captured this marvelous sight of her elf on the shelf moving around, but it quickly notices her recording, so the elf stops moving as if nothing had happened. This little child wanted to catch an elf on the shelf, but it takes a weird turn because not even the kid can figure out what the elf was doing. The elf captured in this clip is a really strange fellow, and his behavior is peculiar to say the least. This clip shows an entire elf family stuck inside a lantern. You can see a grown-up elf with several of its babies, which are wearing many different colors. We don't know how all of them ended up being stuck there, but luckily one of the elves started talking and tells us an entire story, so let's keep watching until the end.
It's kind of hard to explain, but Dark saw this glowing magical light, and he thought we would like to hang out inside of it, but then he put us all inside, and then he closed it and locked it with a big lock, and now we're all trapped inside here, and I was hoping maybe, just maybe, you could use your magic gloves and help save us.
In this clip, the elf was caught moving its eyes, and it's very rare to see an elf on a shelf moving its eyes, so it's a super special case. The person who took this video hung a candy stick on the elf's little hand. Then they must have looked away or something because elves don't move at all if someone's looking at them. At that point, you can see the elf moving its eyes, and it's just absolutely nuts, so let's take a look. We have have a clip from a YouTuber who captured this elf on the shelf swinging on the hammock. We guess that Santa doesn't have hammocks at the North Pole, and that's why this elf decided to try its owner's hammock instead. But that's not even the most fascinating part of the clip, because at the very end, the elf just vanishes out of thin air on the hammock.
Thingamajig, I don't even know what that's called, guys. Wait, where'd he go? Dude, he's not in there anymore. Dude, all right.
Some elves on the shelf are super funny like this one. It was just chilling on a Christmas tree and looked straight into the camera and raised its hand in a dabbing position. It's just insane. It makes you think whether it's something Santa's teaching the elves or it's just this elf that's seen the kids do it many times and wanted to try it itself. In this brief clip, we can see an elf looking straight into the camera before headbutting it. Perhaps the elf didn't like being secretly recorded, and that's why it tried to shut the camera off. After 2 headbutts, the elf understands that it doesn't know how to turn the camera off and it leaves the scene. This clip features these elves on the shelf sitting harmlessly on the floor, but it's probably one of the creepiest clips of elves on the shelf we've ever seen. It just looked like 2 elves rocking back and forth, which is already creepy enough, ended on a surprising note, so let's check it out. This one's really crazy, guys. So this kid thought of pranking his elf on the shelf by pretending to leave the room. Little did the elf on the shelf know that he was under surveillance and his every move was being recorded. Some elves are easier to trick than others, but we should love our elves even if they're not moving. It's time for some vitamins, and this elf on the shelf knows the right vitamin to pick from. In this clip, the elf on the shelf is trying its best to move the oranges on the table, and after much struggle, it gave up and decided to nap by resting on one of the oranges instead. A makeshift pillow out of an orange is something we never thought was possible, but this elf proved us wrong. We don't know for sure what the elf on the shelf here is doing in this clip, but its movement caught on camera suggests that perhaps there's another elf on the shelf nearby who's about to join his buddy in front of the camera, so let's check it out. There is nothing an elf on the shelf cannot do, including moving and pushing things on camera. In this clip, an elf on the shelf was caught doing various pranks. Let's hope the owners didn't get too mad at it. This clip shows 2 elves on the shelf potty training. Well, kinda, because it seems like the second elf has left her many gifts on the toilet seat and a note, which suggests that the elf isn't as much potty training as pranking her owner. At least elves poop candy, so this entire situation is not as bad as it could have been. Just imagine what could have been an alternate to that.
They're everywhere. Oh my. I have to say your outfit's looking mighty beautiful. Along with your eyeballs. Oh, look. She has a note for us. Hoo, you can't go. Oh, but I really gotta go. I have to go potty. What am I gonna do?
For this clip, we have footage from a hidden security camera in the kitchen, and one night the camera captured this wonderful moment of an elf on the shelf moving its face right into the lens before starting to dance and hop around on the kitchen counter. The elf had some midnight fun and finally takes off the counter. This clip was recorded by a girl who was playing with her elf on the shelf in the pantry when she noticed that another elf, this one wearing black clothes, is trying to squeeze under the doors. As she picks up the elf, she notices that he doesn't have any legs, and then the other 2 elves can be seen waving to the girl from the other side of the doors. According to the girl, the 2 elves actually locked her inside the pantry, and she had to wait for hours until her mother came back from work to unlock the doors. Who knew that elves could pull such evil pranks off on their owners?
Okay, you don't look as derpy. You look a little wonky. Your hat's coming off, Evel. But look at, there's this perfectly derpy little guy. He looks happy. And then here's this little sad squished guy. Lost his legs in surgery. Oh, hello! Welcome! Yes, we have a derpy. We have your members. But guess what? They got a new makeover.
this clip, we have a rare type of elf on the shelf, and at very first it was laying dormant until suddenly it started moving, leaving the frame before returning and making its way towards the camera. The elf gives it a good look before noticing that it's recording, and because the elves are super instructed by Santa not to get caught moving, the elf quickly disappears from sight. For this elf, it's the 10th day it's spending at this family's house, and it was the day when it eventually got spotted moving on video by the dad. Take note of how he successfully captures the elf. First, he places the elf snacks to entice him to enter the room. Nothing appears to be moving at first, but then the elf flies into the room with a marker and greets us with a Merry Christmas. What a lovely elf. And after that, the elf walks away without even touching the elf snacks. It's most likely not as good as the snacks that it gets from Santa at the North Pole. If you're interested in learning how to catch your elf pulling pranks on you outside your door, you should watch this clip. So here's what happened. An elf was captured on camera ringing the doorbell of one of the family's homes, which was lucky because they had a security camera in place at the front door. As a result, his little naughty act was exposed and he got captured on camera doing the usual mischievous behavior that elves like to do. This clip captured a pregnant elf on the shelf moving and giving birth right in front of the camera. This is probably the first time such an event has been captured on camera, and it's truly magical. You can see that the baby elf looks slightly different than its mother because it's still just a newborn, and it will grow up to be a magical elf just like its mother. So let's check it out.
Oh, I just can't believe all of her cuteness. Go ahead, we'll put you right inside there. Oh, such a little tiny, cute little baby elfkin. Woo! Oh, Beebs, is that you? It is!
This girl woke up in the morning to find a note left by her elf, saying that they were going out to hide in the nearby forest, and luckily the note included the GPS coordinates for the owner to find her elves. She started walking to the coordinates and ended up finding not just her elves, but also a plethora of other dolls and toys. Her elves have probably hosted some sort of forest party for all the toys in her closet, and it's just amazing.
Let me get you down from there. Oh no, sorry.
You.
I'm sorry, baby.
He probably has a concussion from that.
We'll take him to the doctor.
Mom, we can't take him.
But how are you gonna touch? You can't touch the elf. How are you gonna get him down? Or take the branch?
From hiding behind the wall to coming out to play around the house to finally choosing the right spot to hide to avoid cameras, this elf has got a lot of decisions to make. It's very difficult to catch elves moving, but it's even more difficult to capture them talking. But don't worry, for this clip we have an incredible recording of the three elves talking together. They discuss very important matters, so listen carefully.
Don't listen to Charlie and Buddy anymore.
Okay.
This elf noticed that his owners were trying to capture him moving on camera, but instead of sitting still and not moving at all, he decided to wave at the camera, gifting us this wonderful clip. An elf on the shelf was caught on camera, actually teasing the viewers. The elf in this clip is seen playing hide and seek with the camera. How cute. The elf on the shelf phenomenon is a Christmas tradition in which elves go around the neighborhood to spy on children and see if they're being good or bad. This elf has no idea that he was being watched by a drone camera as he went around the town. Luckily, he didn't break the speed limit, and this clip just shows how hard the elves are working. So this dad set up security cameras in his kid's room to capture the elf, and they were checking out the footage, which is just insane, and I can't believe it's real. Do you think this elf on the shelf started moving around the camera, or is this fake? The elf on the shelf doesn't want to be seen moving when people are around, but in this case, it did start moving while on camera. I don't see how you could fake this, but you can see that the elf on the shelf is moving out of the box, jumping out of the box, and roaming all over the room, and it's absolutely spectacular, so let's check it out. In this short clip, we can see an elf named Abe being caught on camera while driving a toy car. Who knew that some elves could actually drive? Abe isn't even using its hands to steer the wheel, so we guessed that it's using magic to move around with the car. This elf played so many pranks on this family, and you're about to be in for an adventure. In the first few seconds of the video, the elf starts things off by sliding down the stairs and onto the fire truck toy. Then it drives to the family's room, and then the lights begin to rapidly turn off and on. But that's not the craziest part. The elf goes on to climb up the tree in the fireplace and, well, unhooks the family socks. This elf is just so mischievous. But because of that, we have this great clip to show you, so make sure to stick around to the end. For the elf on the shelf in this clip, nighttime means playtime. In this clip, an elf on the shelf can be seen moving and trying to wake up its sleeping friends. After a long time of disturbance, it eventually falls on its friends and joins the sleeping camp. Elves also need rest. In this clip, we can see two elves that were caught sharing a pumpkin. We all know that elves love sweets, but who knew that they also indulge in pumpkins? Now that's news for us. Now we have a funny clip of this energetic elf dancing in the living room. After showing off his best stats move, the elf gets on the dog and starts to take a ride to the TV, where the elf gets on the mantelpiece, joins his elf friends on the TV, and starts dancing again. This elf keeps dancing until the TV turns off. What a crazy clip. In this clip, a hidden camera caught an elf on the shelf moving, but not just that, the elf itself was also seen flying around the house on what seemed to be a magical skateboard before finally finding a place to rest. This is just amazing to see, don't you think? Now we have a clip of an elf just strolling around the living room. This girl captured this incredible footage last year on Christmas Eve, and it's a truly magical moment of an elf on the shelf coming to life and walking around the living room. In this clip, we have an elf on the shelf who was caught moving by a hidden camera. The elf noticed the camera and approached it before seeing that it was on and that it was currently recording and moving. After noticing that, the elf left the frame and gave a thumbs up to the camera. The security camera of a home captured something bizarre when the owners were not at home. In this clip, the elf on the shelf was caught on camera moving directly in front of the security camera and then started staring at it. What a sight to see. This elf was captured taking care of a sweet tooth with his fellow elves and making them cookies. This is a very nice gesture, and it shows how caring and considerate these magical beings are. Would you like to taste a cookie made by an elf? Up next, we have a clip of an elf on the shelf getting baited by a $100 bill. So the elf's owner placed a $100 bill on the ground right in front of the elf, and the little fellow literally jumped off the Christmas tree to claim it.
You see that? You got to be kidding. As soon as I look.
For this clip, we have an incredible sighting of an elf appearing in front of the camera out of thin air before slowly making its way towards the recording device. Not long after, the elf uses its magic again to vanish out of thin air, but just a second later, the camera starts shaking and another elf on the shelf pops right into frame. Now we have this woman who set up a security camera in the living room in front of the Christmas tree, and on top of which you can see the elf on the shelf sitting still. Sometime later, the woman leaves the room, and then the elf comes to life and starts moving, climbing down the Christmas tree and leaving the frame. Perhaps it went on to have a whole nighttime adventure, but we can't say for sure. Prepare yourself because this elf on the shelf is about to, well, poop. I'm not kidding, and that's not even the craziest part, because this guy decided to prank their elf on the shelf by leaving some chocolate-covered raisins in a jar to kind of trick the elf into eating it, but the most insane thing ends up happening, so make sure to stick around to see for yourself. If you didn't know, you aren't supposed to touch your elves on the shelf, because if touched, they can lose their magic powers. And that's exactly what happened to this elf, and you can see because their eyes are blank. Fortunately, the owner's an elf on the shelf expert, and she made a magic potion out of cinnamon and foam to help her elf regain its magic powers. So let's check it out.
Magical lock. Okay. Oh, whoa, that was quick. Did you see that? It opened up immediately. Whoa! She just moved. I just saw her move. Okay, let's see. Have my magic gloves on so they will not lose their magical powers. Ah! She is! She's still smiling!
For this short clip, we have an elf who was caught walking on the sleeping dog. This elf likely wanted to play with its furry friend, and in turn, it got caught moving. What a marvelous sighting. In this clip, we have a curious elf on the shelf who noticed the hidden security camera and decided to pick it up and record a short vlog. The elf carries the camera to another spot before placing it down and dancing right in front of it. The elf was probably interested in human technology and decided to experiment and record its own vlog. Now we have a clip recorded by a YouTuber who wanted to capture his elf on the shelf moving. As you can see, the elf on the shelf is sitting right in front of the camera, so you might think that the elf isn't going to move because elves usually don't move when they know that they're being recorded. But the elf eventually starts moving and even leaps straight into the camera. Let's check it out.
Unlike any other, like compared to
scared to try.
So imagine if they lived like 10, 20 years, or like a lot of marine life lives a lot longer. Imagine they lived like 90 years like turtles, they would have taken over long ago. Would have been over.
This is a fact.
No. But, you know, they, in the span.
Wait, dude, look.
I saw that.
Bro, it moved.
So this mom set up some security cameras at the start of December because she knew that her children's elves on the shelf would like to roam around the house and do some bad stuff. In this clip, you can see them captured scooted around the house late at night, but they do something crazy at the end, so keep on watching. In this clip, we see an elf literally teleport into the kitchen, which is an interesting choice for elves to make. The elf then begins to do what elves do best, move around and float around while pretending no one was watching. However, when it realized that someone might be watching, it floated directly up into the camera's lens and proceeded to destroy it because elves hate being captured moving on camera. This clip shows an elf on the shelf that was captured jumping up and down and moving from one place to another. It probably had a restless night, but it eventually got tired and found a place to rest. Now we have a rare instance of an angry elf on the shelf who saw the hidden camera and attacked it. The elf punches and even headbutts the camera. The elf probably got angry at its owner for trying to catch it moving because the elves can't allow themselves to be recorded in motion. The elf keeps punching and hitting the camera before flipping it over at the very end of the clip. What a rare sighting of an elf on the shelf moving. This guy is on a quest to catch the elf on the shelf moving over the Christmas season. He tried putting chocolate coins and candy canes in front of the elf to make him move and grab a piece of the chocolate for a snack, but it's not gonna work. He needs to pay closer attention to the elf, but nothing appears to be changing. So he turned off the lights and installed a night vision camera, and then the elf vanishes, leaving the goodies half empty. What happened to it? Fortunately, the guy fitted a GPS tracker to the elf to keep track of it. And where do you think the elf on the shelf went? Of course, to the North Pole, and the elf is probably going to tell Santa everything that's happened to him. So 2 weeks before Christmas, this dad caught their elf on the shelf just flying in the middle of the video, and he was recording. Actually, this dad and his family have a verified elf on the shelf YouTube channel that they captured their elf moving a few times, so it must be a real video, and what you're seeing has happened for real. It's about to get even crazier, so make sure to keep on watching until the end. What seemed to be an innocent clip of Grandma unwrapping items turned out to be something straight out of a movie scene. A camera caught an elf trying to walk out of the house before being caught on camera, and well, let's just take a look. Because they heard noises coming from the cereal box the night before, the family set out to find what this elf was up to and trap him before he could get away. In order to catch the elf, they set up a camera the next day. Because of this, the hunch turned out to be right. He was hanging out and eating some sugar cookie cereal. In any case, let's check out the video and see what happened at the end.